Incoming transmission. The Stank Space podcast contains vulgar language and mature topics. So if you're a kid, turn your ears off. And make sure your elderly Christian grandmother is not listening. End of transmission.
Okay, we're going. Hey guys, welcome back to the Stank Space podcast for another awesome interview with an awesome guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Nawjia Nuzum, aka They Hate Elixir, aka The Devil's Clitoris, aka formerly known as Deuce Dolce. So.
All right, yeah. Excellent musician. I love your music, at least the stuff that I've heard. Who knows, maybe I could listen to a couple other songs and be like, I hate this. But yeah.
Some of them are definitely throwaways that made it. So.
You got good shit. I know local rappers. We've had local rappers on. You're by far the best local rapper, so yeah. Jillian loved that interview. That was probably one of her favorites.
Goodness, the unpublished one?
The unpublished one that we have not released because it was just so awkward. Maybe we'll redo it again in the future.
Hi.
If you can see it, love you, bud. But yeah, I didn't find you through your music, though. Mm-hmm. I found you through a Star Beacon article where you were, I don't know, interviewed or they just quoted you.
I think it was more of a quotable moment.
Yeah. And that was for your protest work, specifically bringing awareness to the creepy-ass mass predator known as Thomas L. Volpe.
Drop his name. Fuck
Thomas L. Volpe, who was not anymore, thankfully, but he was the owner and operator of the Albino's Meats right down the street, baby.
Like a car from a foreign country.
Yeah, Volpe. Yeah.
Volpe.
Yeah.
That is a car.
And that car was packed full with underage children.
The back.
We were talking about it a little bit before we started recording, but the story of how you guys ended up there with signs and roasting the shit out of them out front and the news coming to look at you guys was interesting. So go ahead and retell me that.
Okay, so the story is I'm not going to say that I was so invested in the case and I just found my opportunity to dig him and put him in the grave in his business and shut down his business. But I will tell you what happened is there was a Me Too movement going on Facebook, which I'm very active on. And there was a lot of people sharing their experiences. So we had a meetup or a protest at a meetup, an advocacy for victims of sexual assault. And then at towards the end of that get together, a car pulls up of people that I don't even know. I will say his name, Matt. Maybe I don't know his name.
Shout out to Matt. Maybe I don't know his name.
Matt and Nick. They'll know who
Matt and Nick.
About.
All right.
Matt and Nick pull up and they're like, well, I think it's wonderful what you're doing, what you're trying to do. But there's been a business that is known, he's already in the system for being a shit person. He's a pedophile. And, he owns Albino's Meats. And I didn't know about this situation, but a lot of people in the community did. So I found it kind of heartbreaking that nobody actually tried to take action to get him out of his business or bring advocacy to the situation. So right after the get together that we had for it was called, what was it called? Voices Against Sexual Assault. So after that meetup, we went to Albino's Meats and I just stood out there with signs. And then we did that for a month. And then I let go of it. And he ended up having to switch his business, his title, because he lost so many customers. We were out there yelling.
Yeah, you guys were out there yelling, and I have a link to a video someone on their cell phone had of you guys in action whooping ass, and the police were supporting you heavily, which fuck the police first and foremost. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna support something, good job supporting this officer.
Exactly.
The reason he had to what I want to talk about, the reason Thomas Volpe had to rebrand his shit and drop it off and give it to whoever was because your guys' protesting brought to light two girls aged 15 and 17, obviously no names because that's, they're underage, but that had been sexually assaulted by him and his girlfriend or sister or something.
His girlfriend.
At his home and at his business.
Why did you have young girls at your house?
Yeah, because you're.
Why were you partying with young girls? Why were you facilitating? That's some Euphoria. Do you watch Euphoria?
I have not watched it, but I get the gist.
Jill, do you watch Euphoria?
No.
Oh my god. Okay, so there's.
I do love Zendaya.
I don't watch anything.
Okay, so there's this mom on Euphoria, Cassie and Lexi's mom.
Okay.
And she facilitates all the parties. You're too old for that. You've had albinos for, I don't care who, if you have like a daughter that's their age, you shouldn't have been facilitating any teenage parties. You shouldn't have had girls running around.
At least where this guy's like involved in a manner of which he can get someone alone to do fucked up shit to them.
That's weird, bro.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Weird.
But like after these two girls came forward, he got hit with 39 count indictment that included providing alcohol to minors, rape, sexual assault, and of course they were 15 and 17 years old, and he did this on July 5th and 6th of 2019 at his home and his business. And he went to jail, immediately got out on a $200,000 bail, and is put on house arrest with a little ankle bracelet. And here's the kicker, Jill.
What?
They've had 4 attempts to bring this to trial. 3 of them have been canceled and rescheduled due to COVID-related issues. But my favorite is he rejected a plea deal that would have only given him 7 of the 39 counts. He rejected that. They said, no, we can beat this. He was released on that bond. And then, let's see, I have in my notes. His case was severely fumbled due to conflicted interest of Assistant Prosecutor Carolyn Rank. She was also working as a criminal defense attorney in Cuyahoga City, or Cuyahoga County. And our county prosecutor said that she wasn't aware of that when it was brought to attention, that she wasn't aware of that, and that even if it was, she didn't believe that it counted as a conflict of interest. And the reason that it is a conflict of interest is because you cannot be going after, you know, the defendants and then also supporting the defendants, like, and all of those details that cross and mingle, and you can know people regarding this case and that, and it's just like, it's not a good idea.
No.
So then the judge was like, you know what, I don't give a shit. This is the 4th pre-trial or whatever that we're trying to get started here. It's whatever. We'll get a new assistant in who is a very, you might feel good about the fact that the new counsel is a 30-year prosecutor veteran. So that's why they're very, very shook. And his team, who they caused the second delay to the trial because quote, Volpe's attorneys didn't feel comfortable staying in a hotel for 5 to 6 days that the trial would have needed. Yeah.
You literally sexually assaulted children.
Yeah, but his team they just don't want to stay in a hotel for 5 to 6 days. They're lawyers. They can't afford that, dude.
Why do you get to do that? Why do you get to just keep like making excuses and the courts keep allowing it for you to just keep BSing? You need to go to jail.
Well, thankfully, the judge overseeing the trial, I assume, was like, listen, I don't give a shit about this crossed interest bullshit. We're going to get a new person in. I'm going to make sure that they are prosecutor veteran Dawn Cantalamesa. Hopefully I said that correct, and I didn't just put the little fucking accent on there for no reason. So he stopped the delays, but then his team, the ones who didn't want to stay in a hotel for 5 to 6 days, they said, our boy Volpe's housekeeper's got COVID.
Oh my God.
And even though Mr. Volpe has been fully vaccinated, we are afraid that he may bring COVID into this courtroom. And they were like, okay, we're going to go ahead and delay this fucking trial for the 4th time in a row. And then what I wanted to add, which you brought up too, is that he's got a co-defendant in this case. She's 22 years old, Tiara Babbitt, who's also accused of sexual misconduct with the 15-year-old victim. She got out on a $10,000 bail. No GPS tracker like Mr. Volpe, but she has mandatory check-ins with the probation department. And I tried to email the writer of all these articles that I got the information from, Miss Shelley Terry, and I'm just saying this to give her credit because I wouldn't.
Shelley Terry be right.
Shelley Terry be right, but she don't be answering her emails though. Because I was like, yo, is there any updates? Like, I was very professional and suave and businesslike, which is not me. But I had to come through the emails like, can I get any updated info?
Right.
And crickets, bro. Crickets. 3 days.
Shelley Terry's gone.
Shelley Terry, yeah. That's what it is, honestly. She's too big for her britches. I understand. You're covering the biggest case of child rape in Ashtabula history.
She's on the front page of everything in the Star Beacon.
Star Beacon, yes. Shelley Terry.
Shout out to
She's
Shelley.
out here. She's doing the work. She's the Batman of the small local news community. We appreciate and support you, Shelley Terry. So yeah, how do you feel about that though? That this dude's just walking around with the ankle bracelet for a year and a half.
Disgusted. And when people see him, like occasionally I'll get like people that want updates from me on the case. I don't know what's going on. That's me being honest. I don't know what's going on. I just knew that what happened and you need to get the fuck out of here because I don't support that. And the community, it was like the older people knew what was going on. Like the people that shop with him at this like shop knew what was going on. But the younger people were like, wait, he did what? And he's just doing this? Like,
yeah, he clearly was not very secretive about it.
And he wasn't secretive about it, but it was just like nobody cared enough until like we started saying something like this is weird.
And again, you guys were out there for a solid month.
Yeah.
So
how I feel is I don't care how like what conflict of interest you have, like where you don't want to go to jail. A lot of people don't have the luxury to choose not to go to jail. And I still stand that you're a piece of shit person and I don't like you and you need to get out of our community.
Yeah.
Period.
I'm ashamed that he has enough money
and
to avoid all this shit.
You're well established because of your business, but that's just like prime example, like people with money, like classism definitely exists. Because if I was to do, I've never do nothing like that. But if I was to do something like that, I'd be in jail tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I don't have the money to get out on bail. So you have a luxury of not only having enough money to like pay off the crimes that you've done, but to then walk around in the community of the same people that you've harmed and like infected.
Yeah.
And you may think that that's like a flex or whatever, but that's not a flex. You're a disgusting old person and you need to go to jail.
And you deserve to have as many people know that you're a disgusting fucking old person.
Everybody needs to know.
So, as I said, I found you through that article and through the work that you guys did, which was fucking awesome because clearly it resulted in this man at least now dealing with the legal system for his
and people looking at you
fucked up crimes. Yeah.
Oh, like,
nice ankle bracelet, bro.
Yeah, like this is Tom, you know. Oh, somebody sent me a picture, like I think like a couple months back of him like gassing up at BP in his big old Jeep, and it's like, oh yeah, he's still walking around here. I said something to him like, you're fucking disgusting or whatever.
That GPS angle has got a wide zone of fun and adventure for him.
Why were you gassing up at BP on it?
I don't understand how if someone molested two underage women, why he would be allowed to walk around the community.
That's only like what's documented on paper too.
Yeah. There have been a lot of people that have come out with their stories. I don't have any details, so I won't talk about them because I don't want to fuck it up. But these aren't the only two women that he and apparently this woman have harmed.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But through that article, I was able to find you on your social media and stuff, which you're like a social media goddess for real. Like you run that shit. I'm jealous of your social media skills. Like I said, or like you said earlier, your music can mostly be found through your artist name, They Hate Elixir.
They Hate Elixir.
Yeah, and your TikTok is This is the Devil's Clitoris with some cool matrixy like numbers replacing letters at the end. We'll throw it up. You guys will be able to see it.
Hello, it's me, Editor Jillian. I'm tired, and look at my hair. Not very good. But guess what? I'm in space, so it's okay. I'm here to tell you that there were, since we recorded this, which was in February, and I'm editing it in April, because I'm a professional editor, there were changes to her usernames, which I'll put up now. So what Nick said was BS, and you should all blame him. So do that, and I'll see you later.
And you got almost 15K followers on TikTok. Like, okay, go ahead, go off, and 176,000 likes. I was so lit when we hit 300 followers, bro.
No. Every like this is not like, oh yeah, I made it to 15K.
Yeah.
A little bit of progress.
We out here.
Me, you know. But yeah, it's very exciting to see your platform grow, which you guys will definitely do because you're like homegrown, and the more people that you interview, the more people that you'll touch. It's like love is infectious. That's what I believe.
Bless.
If you guys are authentic through the whole process and like nice and welcoming to people, there's no way you could not watch the shit and love it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Nicest guest award.
300 followers to 300,000 followers is what I'm manifesting for you guys.
Thank you so much. We're going to manifest all the goodness for you. And the reason why you've got so many followers and people that love your shit is because you're just unfiltered, unadulterated, and open and honest with your opinions and your feelings, which are very solid and spot on, at least for me. I would say, I wrote down, uses her platform to openly express her views on everything from spiritualism to race to her music and fashion. And I will say, you decked out today. Your fashion is on fucking point. I'm low-key Like the dude that like be on Twitter like looking at celebrities be like, yo, what'd you wear, bitch? Like I'm that guy. I love fashion,
Donatello.
as you can tell by my anime shirt and my flannel that I'm rocking.
I am not. I don't. Nope.
You could
I could.
You could.
do it.
I like
Now.
jeans and t-shirts.
Yeah,
That's okay.
jeans and t-shirt are lit. Your outfit is solid. Get over here. Yes,
Jillian.
360 first, queen. You're locked in. You got the Shido hair.
E-girl.
Yes. E-girl vibes. E-girl goddess vibes, dude.
Thank you.
You are the co-commander of this ship. Demand more respect.
Period.
Speaking of demanding respect, that is definitely something that you do. Look at that. I'm getting so good at interviewing skills, bro. So one of your TikToks, and I have them saved. I send them to you. You know which ones we're going to talk about. Jillian is the one who sifted through your TikTok and was like, these ones are really good. I like these. I want to talk to you. So you'll know. Join the conversation even though you're behind the camera. You fucking nerd. So we're going to show this TikTok. Ba-da-bow! You know the one I'm talking about by the questions I'm going to ask. So we're going to show it.
Black people may not trust you, like you, or want to be friends with you.
I'm going to say something that a lot of people may not agree with. So to piggyback off of the video that I stitched, to understand where I'm going with this conversation, I want to bring up a conversation that I had a few days ago on TikTok, where another black woman was talking about how biracials and light-skinned women want to be accepted and automatically feel as if they need to be accepted into the black community, but also try to claim reverse colorism and say things like, oh, y'all talk about light skin, but what about that time that I was bullied by a dark-skinned woman in the first grade? So yeah, as a light-skinned woman, I personally believe that not just white people, but light-skins and biracials should be exiled from the community until proven that they're pro-black. Because just as this person said that black people automatically sometimes don't trust people that are not black, we need to have the conversation, and as a light-skinned woman myself, I will be the one to have it. Biracials and light-skinned people that are not pro-black are just as parasitic as white people infiltrating the black community, period. Because not only are you not pro-black, and sometimes bleed your anti-blackness that you've internalized from systemic racism and palm-colored supremacy ideologies, you also feel and oftentimes have a first-class seat to interact with the culture when you feel that it's beneficial to you, just as fully white folks do. There's been more than a few times that I have tried to interact with my darker skinned peers that didn't necessarily trust me because of my skin color. And do you know I was never offended by that? Because given the history, they don't owe me that off the bat respect. And once we stop viewing black people, especially black women, as people that automatically have to nurture and take us in and put us under their wing and be nice to us, and when they don't, they're angry black woman, and we just simply see black people as humans, and then we radicalize ourselves of all the anti-blackness that systemic racism has implanted into us. And for other people of color that are light-skinned and biracial, when you become pro-black and unlearn all the indoctrination from systemic racism and white supremacy, then I feel like you should be able to communicate with the black community. But until then, I feel it's necessary to be exiled. And we need to have a conversation about how biracials and light-skinned people benefit from the culture, the black culture, but when it's time to stand beside your dark-skinned counterparts or uplift them, then it's oppression Olympics. I have so many thoughts about this subject, but yeah, that's it for now.
So, my first question, and it was like, these are the row of interests I have, and we're going to start heavy and then go light, because your content is like a Bob Ross painting of like heavy, light, fun, serious, yeah. Can you explain or expand on your thoughts about light-skinned or biracial people needing to be, and this is a quote from you, exiled from the black community until proven that they're pro-black. That was how you started your video. Yeah. In regards to the conversation or topic that the assumed majority of black people have a developed mistrust towards non-black people, at least here in America. And I connect. The reason I want to talk to you is because I 100% get this. I was raised in a black community. I was the minority in my community, which is, cool flex, bro. But you get what I'm saying. Like, I understand what you're saying from a point that maybe most people wouldn't if they disagreed with what you were saying.
Exactly.
I agree with you fully, but I want you to express it because I think it's important to hear your exact opinion on this. So go ahead, floor's yours.
Okay, so there's a conversation online. My video was a stitch to somebody saying black people may not trust you automatically and they don't have to. And I was just like, yeah, thinking about that. I could see, because there's a lot of discussion if biracial people should be considered black. And when I say black, it's not just you can't go up and talk to a black person, but being a part of the culture and being able to take pieces of the culture. That's what I'm talking about. Or when it comes to pro-black issues, you should not have the floor. I should not have the floor before a fully black person or a dark-skinned person. So my opinion was light skins and biracial should be exiled from the community. Obviously not literally, but you guys should not be able to dibble and dabble into the culture and just use your black card for whatever privilege that you think you have with interacting with fully black people, because you could be parasitic to the community if you're not pro-black. If you haven't unconditioned and uncolonized your mind, then you could be parasitic to the community. So say what they call it is coons. You would be a coon if you were light-skinned or biracial, but you were also anti-black. You have a problem with dark-skinned women, or you're talking about dark-skinned women bullied you because you were light-skinned. That's a very, what do you call it? A very...
Well, it's forcing a misconception upon an entire community for one interaction.
Exactly. So I just feel unless you're pro-black or unless you're pro-black period, you should not be able to go into the community and be able to dress like black people or talk like black people or use that you're black to get whatever you think that you deserve out the world. That was my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree fully. And I was telling you when we were discussing it a little bit before we started recording, I went from Lost Nation Road in Willoughby to apartment complexes to a Section 8 house in Perry, and I went and if you're not familiar with the area, that is a very different class level. Mm-hmm. Perry is very rich. Mm-hmm. And I went from a school where I was maybe one of 5 white kids to a school where I was friends with one of 3 black kids in the school at that time, and it was just this huge culture shock. Yeah. And that's when I really became aware, because my dad was from Texas, which has a huge Latino and black community, and he always made me very aware of hey, you have black friends and shit, but you're white, and you need to understand that you're fucking white. Don't try. His words were don't try to be black, but I understood what he was saying was you need to respect that this is a culture and not just your friends.
Exactly.
And so I was thankfully blessed with that opinion and that view growing up, but it was very surprising to me when I went to Perry High School, and I was really good friends with Devontae. He's been on the podcast before. We did acid and talked about shit. He's great. But he was definitely the man to go to for the connect at the school, and it was interesting seeing Chad and Bradley and Mitchell go from not interacting with a black person to interacting with a black person, and that's when I was really oh, yeah, this is what my fucking dad meant. Yeah. So I agreed with you fully, and I liked your viewpoint. I was people need to hear this because it makes sense. And that's, like you said, it's not, your words were exiled from the black community, but I understood what you meant, which was don't just come in here to dip and leave. If you're going to be here, support it.
Exactly.
If you're not, then fuck off.
If you have something to do with activism, actually be out there doing it. If you actually have an opinion or a privilege in this world, use it for advocating for your people if you're going to be a part of your people. If not, don't.
Exactly. I agree. So the next TikTok was or maybe this is a question in just relation to that, but how would you define being pro-black, and what advice could you give to those who want to improve or better understand that concept and culture?
Pro-black is radicalizing yourself of colonialism, actually acknowledging that white supremacy exists, and then unworking or doing the work to uncondition your mind of shit that's systemic racism actually plays a part in conditioning a lot of us to be have or adopt white supremacist ideology. So with systemic racism, which is the definition of white supremacy being multifaceted in everyday life, to where sometimes you can't even pick up on the shit. So actually looking into how to uncolonize your mind, uncondition your mind from
think of things racism outside of a white perspective if you're white.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how you be pro-black. And then you just advocate or try to understand people that don't look like you. Or,
All right. Yeah, good advice. So,
without bias.
yeah, don't be biased now. My second question, and this is the next TikTok. I have a lot of military friends and family. I'm like one of the very few in my family that did not enlist or join the military. I come from a heavy military family, and it was due to the horror stories from my grandfather and my mom who were in the military. So I was like, yeah, I'm not about this. I did want to be on some Tom Cruise Top Gun shit, all up in a plane like you know. But I was like, oh, maybe not. I'm a hippie. So what the TikTok that you shared, which we'll show here.
Remember, I always love you.
Fun fact, my grandfather was one of the first African Americans to serve in the Marine Corps, and he was a part of the Montfort Point Marines. The history of the military and people of color is not too kind, even in modern day. I know that this probably isn't just about like your skin color or even your background, but I'm sharing this to hopefully deter people of color from going into the service in the future. African Americans were only allowed to serve in the war because they were useful bait. Those are not my words, those are my grandfather's words. Most of the time he would talk to the family about how proud he was, that he accomplished what he did, that he came out alive and whatnot. But I was closer to my grandfather than most of my family was. I actually took care of him a lot before he had passed away. I don't know everything that happened while he was in service, but I do know that he was one of the first African Americans to serve in the Montfort Point Marines and one of the only to survive. The Marines period, the military period, conditions people to be killing machines. And if you're indoctrinated enough, like I said, you're conditioned to believe what you're doing is for the right cause. Do you know what's more sinister than being drafted and then indoctrinated into believing what you're doing is for a good cause and then you're protected by the organization that you're supposed to be serving? The fact that they now bait young kids in our school systems and they have recruiters go into these schools and tell kids that if they feel like they can't survive capitalism or they can't make it out in the world, that the military has a spot for them. And so a lot of kids, young adults, sign up for these organizations to feel as if they have a safe space in society where they can make a little bit of money and then feel like they're serving the country. And then you realize, I'm just a pawn in this game. From what I hear, they don't feed you well. They intentionally traumatize and condition you. You're first to die if and when things go down, especially if you're a person of color. Black women or black men are especially unprotected in the services, as with many of them have gone missing or came up abused, RAPED, in service, and are just overall still mistreated. Things have not strayed too far away from when my grandfather had to serve in the military. My point of saying all this is, although I'm not well versed because I'm not in the military, in my opinion, you should not allow yourself to be tricked into thinking that you have a place in the military where you are protected as a person of color, nor should you want to go into the military if you're a person of color. I know way too many people my age that have fell for the recruiter going into the schools, or people not being able to survive capitalism so they go into the military as a backup plan. Just take my word, don't do it. Don't do it, I beg.
You were talking about your grandfather's experience and his history with the Montfort Point Marine Association and the Marine Corps in general. Was it the Vietnam era that he was enlisted?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I love history specific, but only certain points. And one of the ones that I love studying is like the culture and the time that America was in around Vietnam and the Vietnam War's like impact specifically, because I believe it was just such a colossal major fuck up. I don't think we would have boomer memes right now if it wasn't for the Vietnam War.
You shouldn't have did that.
Yeah, it was a tough time. My grandfather served. He was in Korea and Vietnam. He was in Vietnam. He did some special forces shit. The whole you can't talk about this for about 40 years type shit. Mm-hmm. When you have Alzheimer's and 3 heart attacks and can't remember anything anyway. Yeah. And one of the stories that has stuck with me, and one of the reasons why I was like, maybe I don't want any part of this military shit, was my mother. I've met him very few times, but my mother took me to D.C. to meet him. We were at the Vietnam War Memorial, which is that wall with all the names of missing in action or killed in action soldiers. And I watched this man go name by name and find his friends that he knew were dead that he watched die, and they are still to this day listed as missing in action because they were in an area they weren't supposed to be.
Ouch.
Now, that's my negative interaction with the military and like the things I have wrong. I think specifically military people, there's a line between the people that are serving for the right reasons and then the people that are like doing fucked up shit and using those people.
Exactly.
That's mostly the government roles that are doing that.
Exactly. So when I say that I'm anti-military for like everybody, but specifically people of color, I don't say like, oh, the military, the people that are serving or the people that have lost their lives in the military are like bad people. I'm saying that people are conditioned to believe that our army, our military, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is doing something grandiose for this country. You haven't actually had to protect this country in a very long time. So you're sending people to go fight your battles over capitalism, basically.
Yeah,
wanting
resources
from other people that we are not entitled to. You don't have to send your own citizens over to somewhere that we don't belong to kill them.
Yeah.
Or kill other people for no fucking reason.
Muhammad Ali said it best. I don't have any problem with these brown people that live in this other country.
Exactly.
I don't know why we've got to go kill them type
Exactly.
shit.
Not to mention like American soldiers like pillaged and raped a whole bunch of Middle Eastern women.
Yeah,
and children.
wartime is fucked up for sure. So people are more willing to do a lot of fucked up shit when you're surrounded by insanely fucked up shit.
Exactly. So what I was saying about my grandfather is my grandfather was one of the first African American soldiers to serve in World War II. And he was a part of the Montfort Marines, and he received a Congressional Medal of Honor when he was like 80-something, which is like the highest like medal that you can get.
Yes.
But I just like hearing stuff about like the stuff that he had to do over there, and then like him also feeling that he was obligated to just talk the military, although he was obviously traumatized and like even just like wounded still. Like he still had shrapnel in his legs and in his arms and stuff like that they couldn't get out because the surgery wasn't advanced. They couldn't just take the shrapnel out. Or I don't know how that works, but he was like severely bruised, had PTSD, nightmares, all types of shit. But he still, because of the conditioning that he had in the military, he still felt the need to uphold like, oh yeah, but that's what you have to do when you're a young man and they call you to go to war to be bait for the people in the military. Like he was very like conditioned to believe that he was doing the right thing. And he was like I said, one of the only people that survived. Like how you said, like your grandfather could pick out all his friends. My grandfather probably could have did the same thing. A lot of the people that he went in with died. Yeah. And then also the reason that I don't like the military is because they go into like the schools, like in high school. Do you guys remember that?
Dude, I agree with you 1,000%.
I don't like that shit.
Them high school recruiters making you do push-ups at lunch and shit. Like, dog, I don't even know you. I'm trying to eat, bro.
Or like, do you want an opportunity after high school? Go into the military. Well, we will guarantee that you have some type of income.
That's what they get you with the, you finish basic, you can afford a Camaro, boy.
No.
Sir, I don't want a Camaro, sir.
Right. That's the devil's Camaro.
Yeah,
They're going to deal with the devil, honestly.
Which is your other TikTok profile, the devil's Camaro.
The devil's Camaro.
So yeah, aside from the racial differences, my family's history with the military, with my grandfather and mother specifically, was a little negative. So I just thought it was interesting that somebody else had that point of view, but specifically your point of view, again, that I can't fully relate to, is the very well-known fact that African American soldiers specifically
are mistreated in the military.
Yeah, especially in Vietnam. They were the large majority of soldiers on the front lines. The large majority of casualties and the large majority of people that had their benefits turned away when they returned from the war.
Exactly. And what my grandfather called it was like color bait.
Pretty much. You were promised a lot of things. The same thing they did with the Civil War. Mm-hmm. They promised escaping slaves and African people that were being held against their will and forced to do shit when they saved them on the plantations. Mm-hmm. They said, hey, come enlist, you'll get like, your 3 fucking horses and a mule and a house and all that shit. And a lot of fucking people did not receive that.
Okay, so when it's very history repeats itself. When you go into these schools and you tell our kids they're going to have a Camaro if they go to basic, first of all,
you can, but you don't have no money left.
Yeah, you don't have no money left, and you also have to put your literal life on the line if something were to happen, and then you have to overexhaust yourself and condition yourself and listen to a hot breath man scream in your face about,
some people are into that though. Calm down now.
Get on the floor, maggot.
Yes, sir.
Not cool. It's not cool. You do not have to do that. We're not defending anything. We're not in war with anybody. You don't have to do that. And
well, the goal is to you bring these people in, mm-hmm. and this is the tactic. You're supposed to break down everything that makes them a civilian, take away individuality, and then you fill those broken areas in with the disciplines that they want to instill. No, I mean, yeah, part of it is pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Because you're turning them into the best soldier you can make this person.
Which is somebody who doesn't care about other people.
Yeah. Well, no one that's not, maybe not, they care about their brothers and sisters in the military, maybe more. Like, I feel like anyone that enlists, period, is doing so out of either a very desperate need for money or because they believe that by joining the military, they will be protecting their fellow people and doing good.
Exactly.
But a big thing that's not understood. Yeah, well, sometimes in times of war when we're needed, like World War II would not have been won by the Allies had we not decided to join in. But we didn't decide to join in until Pearl Harbor. So, you know, they could be argued that we weren't even going to do anything in the first place. But the point remains, we are, as a country, are that military strong force. We have the strongest military, like times 20 compared to every other country behind us. Like, Russia's scary, but we're still, at least in terms of technology and shit,
nuclear power.
Way beyond them, yeah. But the reason we are like that is because this system that we use in the military and our soldiers to instill it, we've got the best of the best because at one time we needed it. But the point you made was we don't fucking need that right now. Yeah. We were in the conflict in the Middle East and soldiers are still getting killed and hurt over there, especially now that we've pulled out the way that we did. Exactly. But as far as like an immediate need for massive conflict, we're still, you know.
It's like America's like, do something, say something.
Yeah.
And everybody's
when
like,
is enough
we're
enough?
not doing anything.
Exactly.
And Americans are really a bully, a capitalist fucking bully.
Yeah.
Well, we make our money off of war.
Exactly.
The most money off of war, at
our
least.
people to be the same way as the way our government views. Classism has a lot to do with that. Capitalism has a lot to do with that. Just unconditioned. That's literally the whole theme of this. Uncondition your mind and think outside of the social structure.
Open up your third fucking eye.
Yeah, that we're told. If you were told something, question it. If you did not learn it yourself,
it's okay to question things.
Yeah, it's okay to question things.
And I feel like maybe I would feel a little bit better about how the military treats the people that enlist if I didn't know that every day 21 veterans commit suicide.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's like it's the aftercare that we have for the people that we rely on to defend our rights and our values, even if we don't always agree with the reason why, they are not receiving the care that they deserve and they need for literally signing their bodies over in a contract to our government. That's like the biggest fucking contract you could have with the government is giving them ownership of your body.
Yeah.
If you're in a firefight in the Middle East and you get scared shitless or your brain breaks and you decide to run, you're going to go to fucking jail.
Yeah.
You're going to go to fucking jail for that. That's crazy.
AWOL.
Well, I mean, you know, you have a case. It's like a criminal trial, but you face going to military prison for making a decision to save your life, even if it's not the most courageous one, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you heard it here first, folks. The military should take care of its people better.
Exactly. It's not anti-military because I'm anti-people in the military. It's anti-military because they don't take care of the people in the military.
Perfect. Said it perfect. And then the last one that we'll show.
I don't know what it is. I like a bad.
I'm not sure if this is where it all started, but I think y'all are fucking with us at this point. No, I really do. I really believe that y'all are fucking with us. I really, because it's almost like when black women say that, like, y'all are appropriating black features and black culture, it's crickets. It's almost like the culture, black culture, specifically black women are the their features are the blueprint under a system of white supremacy that also tells them in the same breath that when they naturally look this way, naturally, out the womb, they can't profit or sell the same features that you guys put on as a fucking costume. A fucking costume. It's a gimmick. And it's just like a jokey joke. It's gaslighting and jokey jokes. I don't want to play no more. I want real answers, bitch.
Cracked me the fuck up because I hate the Kardashians. And you came at them so hard and it was beautiful. The fetishization of black women and black culture in Hollywood and politics. And I believe you focus solely on like the looks aspect of how white women are doing their best to look like they are black women. And and it's become like a fashion thing to look black. Ariana Grande is probably the biggest example I could give,
So annoying.
but only because of the tanning. The excessive tanning worries me.
It's not even.
Because I saw her she was on Victorious. That bitch was porcelain.
Tasty.
What happened?
Well, the other thing is that she got called out for Asian fishing too.
Oh, yeah.
Recently, yeah.
Very recently.
You're doing your makeup to like. That's the
To look like your
No,
body is Asian,
you're-
not to wear like a kimono or some shit. No one cares about that.
I would like you're cosplaying as somebody that you're not. I get it. You're a prestigious person. Okay, so let's back. Let's back up. My view was that a lot of people that are like celebrity status or even just like everyday, but especially like celebrities that are not black or a person of color, are cosplaying as black, the same black woman that if I was to go outside with, not me, but like say a fully black person was to go outside and they have their freaking afro out, if they have an afro, they have their afro out and they try to go get a job. Statistics say that they're like 10 times more likely to be denied the job opportunity because of the way their hair looks. You know how crazy that sounds?
Yeah.
But then you have these fully white people that are cosplaying as black people, and then white girls getting huge ass BBLs just to be able to look like a black woman or to be curvaceous when naturally black women have curvaceous body types. And there was this story that I love to share to like relate to why I say the thing about the curvaceous body type. There was a slave named Sarah Bartman.
Okay.
And she was like known, she was captivated by like European colonizers because her body type, like her butt was really, really big. And at the time it was not like very common to see a woman with a big posterior.
Mm-hmm.
So they took her and they sold her into a freak show. And they had her body on
Ass so
display.
big she was in a freak show?
A freak
God
show.
damn.
And they were studying her and letting like people pay her master, whoever captivated her, to touch on her and put her in a freak show and view her as some type of monstrosity
That's wild.
in Europe. So then for centuries the body type that was curvaceous was seen as disgusting, inhumane. And even when she died, they didn't, do an autopsy on her to see how she died. They studied to see how she got her butt that big.
Yeah, they wanted to see if there was some magic in her ass that made it big, and it was like, no, she's just thick.
Yeah, she's just thick. That's just her body type. And
Yeah. Well, then Victorian girls too. A popular dress style was like this wire netting. I don't know if it's specifically for, but it was placed back there.
yeah.
So you
To
had a
make
little
your
shelf,
butt-
a little trunk.
to make your butt look big because of Sarah Bartman.
Yeah, which is just that's a conversation on the way women were expected to dress in general back then was just fucking insane.
Yeah.
But the fetishization of curvaceous women has been a thing for a while.
Not you guys, but like a lot of people fetishize and take from black culture and specifically black women, and they never say like, hey, like the big conversation is the braids thing. Like,
Yeah.
why do you not understand that if you actually love black people, but you put some braids in your head, and then black people say, hey, I'm offended or I'm uncomfortable that you're taking pieces from our culture. It's not that I don't want you in braids because it looks better on you.
Yeah.
It's because you're taking a piece of our culture that we literally have to do most of the time to protect our hairstyle. Like I have a ponytail in my head right now, and it's a ponytail extension. I'm gonna be real. Under this is a braid to keep my hair moisturized. Like that's just black people. I don't know if you guys like know science, but when your hair grows, your scalp naturally provides like keratin and a whole bunch of minerals that your hair. Black people need that. You guys
Yeah.
wash it out because it makes your hair greasy.
Yeah.
Black people need that
I do.
shit, like to grow our hair. So like people put braids in their hair to protect it from the sun, and then to keep because the way that the braids are, like 3 strands, your minerals just flow to your ends easily that way. That's why braids are a thing for black people. It's
Yeah.
a protective hairstyle in South Africa.
So it's not that you have braids; it's do you even fucking understand
Do you need them?
what braids are?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like they look cute, but they're actually serving a purpose.
Yeah.
And you don't need them. So.
Especially if you don't, you're not understanding the culture and the reason behind it, and that's all that's really getting asked is like, are you aware of why we have braids?
Exactly. And I'm sure, like, I don't know, I can't speak for all black people, but I'm sure if we ever get to a place where, like, more white people are actually allies, people love to say they're an ally, but are you actually advocating and giving your platform to people that actually need it to be advocated for?
Mm-hmm.
But if majority of white people that uncolonize their mind and uncondition their mind get to a place where they're appreciating the culture instead of appropriating the culture, you might be able to have braids.
Yeah.
But until then, you can't wear them.
Yeah, and if you do get them, you better be getting them from someone of color.
Yeah.
Don't go to a white person to get your braids done.
Go to the African lady and get your braids.
Support black business, dude.
And what's funny is like wherever you're from, they have braids. I
Yeah.
100% guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That if you go online and type in whatever.
Well, specifically, the Viking culture does braids, but not the way that.
Not cornrows.
Yeah. We're not getting fucking We're not getting cornrowed up. Yeah, it's usually your beard or like a light braid, and it's for practical reasons. Keep your hair out of your face.
Braids. If I was to do like a Viking braid and a white person that has like Viking descent was like, take them out your head, that's my culture. If I actually like you as a person, I respect
Well,
that.
thankfully, it's part of all culture for you to say, how about we fucking fight to the death, and whoever wins is right.
But like, if somebody was to say like, you're wearing a Viking braid, like you're just being malicious because Vikings aren't oppressed in this fucking society.
Yeah.
But like,
we weren't judged for our hair. We were judged for all the raping and pillaging and shit that we
yeah,
did.
if you were like, hey, can you take that out? That's my culture. You know what I would do? I'd take it out and get a different hairstyle instead of like trying to. That's another thing that people don't understand. You wanting to be combative with people being offended, like the oppressed.
If you're offended, I'm offended.
Minority. Right. Why are you? If you were actually giving a fuck about the culture that you're trying to take from, if somebody was to say, I'm offended by this, why do you want to be combative to that?
You could at least hear them out.
You could at least hear them out
Yeah.
or try to understand. That's what I'm saying. People have to uncolonize their mind.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's most of the time it is not us versus them.
Exactly.
It is them making us versus them.
Exactly.
And when you really sit down and talk to someone, even if you don't understand it all, the concept of their background or their culture, you find out most people and the core values of life are pretty much the fucking same. And that people that hate people for the color of their skin specifically are really fucked up and have traumas. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that their actions should be fucking defended because of their
Exactly.
trauma.
And I always say, like, in a different time period, maybe, like, oh, yeah, well, I could be racist. No, I'm saying, like, everybody is the way they are because of the conditioning, because of the environment that they're born into, because of the family, all that. In a different life, I could have been a freaking Republican or give a fuck about the government. You know what I'm saying? If I had that type of family, if I had a conservative Republican family, and I could have had very different views and go down a right-wing tunnel where I could be a racist piece of crap.
Yeah, but you're
But
not.
I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's unlearning and conditioning yourself. You can't just accept the things that you were told and this is the right way or this is the opinion that I should have.
The possibility of how I could have turned up does not excuse your fucking stupid decisions.
Exactly. Because anybody could have been a racist piece of crap.
Yeah.
Even some racist.
Well, that's a Jordan Peterson argument was if you were alive in Germany at the time the Nazis were taking power, you would most likely side with the Nazis. And it's like, yeah, but we're not.
Yeah.
So I'm
exactly.
allowed to say the Nazis were fucking stupid. And I get the importance of like, oh, Hitler wasn't, like, you can't just put him in a box of pure evil. It's like, but I can.
Mm-hmm.
One of my friends is very, we had him on, he's probably the interview that'll come out before this one, John. And he was making great points, but at the end of the day, it was like, yeah, but Hitler's still evil.
Exactly.
And we know that because it's universally agreed.
You can say hypothetically all you want, but you weren't there.
You're
so you
right,
don't.
yeah. Hypothetically,
Yeah.
he had a lot of human experiences that we'll never be able to understand. But unfortunately, the choices he made towards the end put him in that fucking box that he deserves to be in.
Pretty disgusting
Yeah.
person. So.
Imagine if Hitler was just known for his paintings.
And isn't, like, honestly, like, isn't all that anti-Semitism come from the stuff that he did?
Yeah, there are a lot of groups right now in the U.S., like the neo-Nazis and certain branches of Skinhead and the Klan, who look to his book, Mein Kampf, and his ideas of how race and eugenics should work as one of the reasons for how they're justified in feeling the way that they feel.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Something that happened all those years ago still has that much effects on people.
Yeah,
in
my
their
grandfather
world.
didn't get his throat slit with a bayonet on the beaches of Normandy for you to shave your fucking head and say the N-word with a hard R, bro. Like, you should probably shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, we'll branch off, we'll regroup. Your personal history you've been very open about. And I took interest in because we're kind of the same. For people that don't know, I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the podcast, but I was in foster care for about a year with an adoptive family, which is nowhere near the insane terror and horror that most people experience in the foster care system. I guess I was definitely one of the luckier ones, for sure. But I believe you grew up or you interacted with the foster care system when you were younger, and I just wanted to know if you wanted to talk about that specifically. My one question, if you need a little blueprint for your answer, how you think growing up in that in those circumstances affected your personal growth and your music and your spiritualism. Did it have any effect on that? Or do you feel more connected to these certain areas that you're flourishing in your life due to the hardships that you faced growing up?
For sure.
Okay.
And before I say what I'm going to say, I'd love to say that if you have, I know this is going to be like, why would she say that? But like, if you're a pro-lifer and you believe that kids have the option of going into the foster care system that isn't flawed, it's not the case. I've seen kids be stabbed with toilet seats by other children. I've seen people be sexually abused by staff members. I've seen all types of stuff in the foster care system. Yeah. Not to mention, if like you said you got adopted.
Yeah, I was taking care of. I had an adoptive family for a year now.
Okay, so like in these group homes and stuff like that, there's people allowed to come look at us like dogs and say, I want this one. I'm gonna take this one home. And oh, maybe they're not the best kid. They don't take into factor like, oh, maybe they're not like, maybe they don't know how to love me right off bat because they've been in this group home for however many years with no family and only people to look up as staff members. And then you get this kid and you take them home and they're not the loving little boy that you want to give your last name and give everything to because they've been traumatized by the foster care system. So you send them back and then you take another one and then more people come in and look at these kids and get to take them home for a test drive and then bring them back.
Yeah, it's very, that's a
on
good way to
top
put
of
it.
the trauma of already being there in the first place.
It's like being a pet in a pet store almost.
Not to mention they don't eat good in there. I was starved to like 100 pounds.
It's not good. It's not good food.
Okay, so yes, being in the foster care system, specifically jail facilities, mental health institutions, all that, group homes, all that has definitely shaped me into the person that I am today to advocate for people that don't necessarily not have a voice but are not listened to in society because they may not look like everybody else or they may not have the same background or the same luxuries as everybody else. So yes, I was in the foster care system, specifically the just legal system period, since like 12 years old.
Okay.
And then I maxed out at 17. So through that whole time, like my developmental years that I should have been learning how to drive and, making friends that weren't like
going to parties and shit.
Going to parties or like drinking and being abused.
Being
like,
a kid.
Yeah.
Being a fucking kid.
I should have been able to be a kid. Instead, I was ripped out of my family and put into a system that did not give a fuck about me. I was a number, a case number.
And not even not giving a fuck. Varyingly shitty degrees of not giving a fuck.
Exactly.
Like, places are worse than others, but they're all bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's never any good.
It's never a good. You just got to adjust to it because you're a kid. You don't have a say-so in your life.
That's another thing, too, that a lot of people don't grasp, is that you're not a fucking adult, so you don't, like, the state owns you.
Exactly.
Like, your rights are given to you by the people that are in charge of you.
Have you ever had a state Christmas?
Tell us.
Sucks.
Tell us, please.
You give a list and hope that somebody that gives a fuck about the foster care system, like you pro-lifers, will pick up this list around Christmas time and go to the Walmart and get little things. And kids in the foster care system don't ask for new phones, new tablets, nice electronics that other kids get to have, or toys. We have to ask for socks because we have to shop off of clothing vouchers.
Socks are so valuable.
We have to ask for hygiene products because maybe the facility that we're in has too many kids to give soap to. So I don't have soap this month. I need this for Christmas.
Yeah, I don't have soap this month.
Yeah. Or deodorant.
month.
I'm asking for shoes. I'm asking for clothes. I'm asking for stuff that I could wear to school so I don't get bullied so they don't know I'm the girl from the group home.
And the majority of those clothes are hand-me-downs?
They're hand-me-downs.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be grateful because you're already in the system. You can't expect anybody to give a fuck about you.
Exactly. Do you have any advice for anyone listening who may be in the same boat that you were at one time? Like, because you are, and I don't want to downplay any shit that you might be dealing with or going through, but to me, it seems like you have done a lot of personal growth and you have improved upon yourself because of these shitty things you were put through.
Yes, because it would have been really easy for me to get out of those situations and just choose to be a menace to society. And that's what I do want to say to anybody that maybe a kid that came across this podcast that's sitting in a foster home or a group home or somebody that has just gotten out. You don't have to be what
you're expected to be.
What you're expected to be from the things that you were subjected to without your choice. You have an opportunity to grow and continue to be a good person, learning from the experiences. Maybe you weren't dealt the best hand, But the easy thing that the system does want you to do is to be a revolving door once you max out at 18, so they can keep profiting off of your bed in the jails. So they can keep saying that this, maybe it was a good thing that they were put in foster care and treated like this, because when they were adult, they chose to keep doing this, like revolving themselves around crime or bad decisions or being rude to the people around them. You can uncondition yourself in the things that you've been through and choose to be a better person in this society and help people that look like you. That's the beautiful thing about growing into an adult. You don't have to be like the other adults around you. You don't have to be what the government's expected you to be. You don't have to be a number in the system anymore. It's going to be hard because you have to be your own parent now that you're an adult, because you didn't have a parent in the system. You have to now be your own parent while also being an adult. So, but like, it's possible. I'm doing it right now. I've actively unlearned all the traumas. I don't use that shit as an excuse to be a bad person. I'm very accountable for maybe some of the decisions that I made when I was a hurt person, and acting out of unconsciousness.
That's another important thing too. Don't just work on the outside, even though it seems like that's the number one thing you got to work on. Make sure you do the work to figure out the inside. Even if you feel like there's nothing wrong, if you've been through that shit, there's something that could be better, that could be improved upon, that you can fix for yourself, which is the most important, is that you're fixing it for you.
Or else you'll be a hurt person hurting other people.
And in 20 years, you'll be like, I wonder why every time something goes wrong, I stress out, and then I interact with people by yelling. I don't know why. I don't want to yell. I don't think I'm yelling, but then I find out I'm yelling.
You need to stop calling me out.
Oh, no, that's me. I was calling me out, Queen.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I forgot we were twins.
You just cry over everything. Like a video of 2 gay geese, you'll just go off. Oh, these gay penguins adopted this baby.
It is weird, though, how we have, like, weird twins.
Similar traumas? Yeah. You got more of the religious trauma, though. And that's no disrespect to we love her, but you didn't really get the opportunity to have a voice in the religious aspects of your youth.
Yeah, nobody ever talks about that. That's very
I don't care what Connor believes in.
That's very sick.
Yeah, I want him to have his own choice.
To force your beliefs onto somebody. Like, even when I say, like, certain things I could say about all around, like, any beliefs that I have, I'm not forcing them on anybody. I just want to be able to talk about my beliefs, and maybe you understand them. But in a religious aspect, religion to me is a tool to control the masses.
Well, a dude can get on a box on the corner of the street in New York and start screaming about how Jesus loves you and gays will go to hell. And, maybe someone will walk by and be like, you're a fucking asshole. But God forbid, like, a vegan or some shit get on a box, and then there's a lot more people who are like, fuck that dude, I love meat. It's like, or like someone gets on a box and is talking about the earth and how we should take care of and worship the earth as a deity instead of some, guy in a book. They're fucking crazy. But not the dude who's like, support the Catholic Church. That guy's not crazy.
Fuck gays, I'm Christian. Fuck
yeah.
'em.
And I will say, the majority of the time you are putting these religious beliefs onto your child because you believe this is good and this is the way and you want the best for them, but then when it's time for them to make their choice, you need to support that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, anybody who's ever unlearned the conditioning of religion will tell you it feels, when you're breaking away from that, it feels like you're still making the wrong choice.
Religion should be your own.
It's a guilt. It's a guilt. Like, you're peeling at your own heart.
Yeah.
I still, to this day, am like, what if I'm making the wrong decision?
Yeah.
You know what? From what I heard about Jesus, he probably won't give a shit. He'll be like, yeah, cool.
That's the good thing about, like...
Because he already knows. He already knows everything you pick. So if Jesus is the real Jesus and you get up there and Jesus is like, yo, what's up? Seems like he probably won't give a shit. I mean, the whole Indiana Jones movie revolved around him. That's pretty dope, dude.
Like, that's fine, but you have to go to this other side of heaven.
Yeah. You're not VIP, but you can come in.
Jesus, from like what I understand, even uncolonizing like the Bible and stuff like that, I'm really into decolonizing
No white Jesus.
everything.
No such thing as a white Jesus.
Not even just that, but like if you actually read the Bible, Jesus kicked it with everybody.
Jesus,
Even the people that didn't believe in him.
Yeah.
So if you're justifying your belief in Christ to like condemn other people, you're a piece of shit person.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Hating pornography and whores and hookers and shit because or women of the night, I should say. People who sex work. That's the term. That's because you're Christian is so stupid because Jesus kicked it with prostitutes all the time, bro.
Wait.
He was down with it. You know how many lap dances Jesus probably got?
He had
A large amount.
He had bitches washing his feet.
Washing his feet, and that's some real pimp shit.
That's some gangster shit.
It's not. I think
Because they wanted to.
Interpreted. that might have been misinterpreted and means something else.
Oh, the jibber jabber, dude. A good old beachster.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, you go back in time to meet Jesus, and he's just chilling in this pub, or what, I don't know, bar of Jesus times, and you walk up and you're like, yo, what's up, Jesus? And he's like, one sec, and some chick just comes out from under his robes. And he's like, go ahead, what's up? You just healing people, getting head? That's my Jesus.
That's my Jesus. Uncolonized Jesus.
Which is a good transition into your spiritual views that I want to talk about. Colonizer Jesus was whack. So, first of all, what are your spiritual views?
I believe that we're, this might be very TikTok of me.
Go, I'm so ready, please.
But I believe that we're souls having a human experience, and we're supposed to be doing whatever the fuck we're supposed to be doing right now because we're in divine timing. And when we die, our souls disconnect from this body. Like, think of everybody as like a computer, you know, and there's a motherboard somewhere. And we're just collecting the experiences of the shit that we're experiencing to unlearn and heal for the next lifetime until we become a pure spirit and we just ascend back up.
Leveling up.
I believe that divination tools are things that are sent here for us to learn ourselves. Like, maybe you're not going to, know all the secrets to the universe, but you read in tarot, you're learning something about, you're connecting back with your source, your soul. I also believe that the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, and the soul are one and the same. I believe that the unconscious mind is like what's instinctual, like the stuff that you learn, like your movements, your unconscious, like this is, subconscious.
Things that have been programmed into us since the beginning of our time.
Yeah, that's like subconscious, and then conscious is making you have free will to make a different decision than what the subconscious says that is normal. And then the soul, I feel like, is behind all of that. It's your self that is your pure self that has no conditioning, that has no ego, that has no ill will. Your soul is a very pure form of yourself. And I feel like the subconscious and the conscious mind work to keep your soul kind of suppressed at a certain point, you know what I'm saying? But through like unconditioning and like learning and all the experiences that you have and the karmic lessons that you go through on earth, you'll originate back to the soul's purpose. But the soul is put in the human body to have a human experience, and you're supposed to learn, have fun, make connections, make your legacy, which your legacy is how you impact other people. And then when you die, maybe you didn't do good enough, so you have to come back and do it again. But your soul is there, and your mind kind of works to keep it at a minimal.
No, I agree with that completely, actually. Like, I don't get into how I view the spiritual aspect of life. I'm a very science guy, but I do think there's a huge connection with how we are supposed to be in the human experience. I believe that certain substances like psilocybin and DMT and THC, natural mind-altering substances, can help us understand that a lot better and see the world for what it really is and make you a better person. Like you spoke about ego, very common thing that I am very interested in, and why I started using hallucinogens other than just to have a good time with my friends and connect more with life in the world around me, was because I learned what ego death was. And I would say I'm a very different person now, having experienced many ego deaths than I was beforehand. So, yeah, it's a very important tool to keep your shit in check.
I did that without psychedelics.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's not like, oh yeah, you needed psychedelics.
Yeah, well,
I encourage like the use of psychedelics if that's what you need to be able to be a person without like bad motive.
Not like for children.
Yeah,
not for children.
Yeah, it
Not
just
for children.
It opens up. You're like, because I'm so.
How we connect, synchronicity.
Yeah.
I understand like a lot of people that have done acids and like psilocybin or whatever. They describe the oneness that they feel to like everything around them. And I've done that like just through like therapy and like meditating and stuff like that. But if you need that like mind altering substance, I just feel like do it if you need to. But the experience is learning that I'm not the only person in this room. Let me be considerate of how I treat you and how I treat you and the energy that I put off. It's acknowledging that we're synchronized in some type of way that you can't quite explain. So let me try to be a good person because it's not all about me. That's what shedding your ego is.
Yeah, it's funny that you word it that way, because that's pretty much, I was raised as the oldest of like 9 fucking kids at any given time. Not a lot of attention was given, which is fine. Like, I'm not complaining, but like I was raised in a way where I had to learn to be very guarded and very closed and not accepting of other people. who, for whatever reason, wanted to interact with me and come into my life. And then when I started opening myself up spiritually to these aspects, which drugs helped with a lot, and therapy, like you said, is insanely important. Everyone,
go to therapy. It's cool.
Everyone should go to therapy if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, understand. Yeah. Find something that can be your
Talk
therapy.
To people on the internet who go to therapy. If you
Open your mind. Stay off Reddit. But yeah, so were you always faithful to the ideals you currently follow?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. And do you consider yourself as someone who has a gift, which you talked a little bit about, I think you said clairvoyance, or your ability to understand how people feel on a deeper level by interacting with them and then giving them advice and shit?
I feel like, and when people say like, oh, you're gifted, it doesn't mean that I'm better than anybody else. It's just, it
just means something you have that some others might not.
Something that I'm working on is developing claircognizance. I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. And I said, and if so, why do you think you have that? What has helped you or spiked your interest in developing that?
Okay. What has spiked my interest in developing claircognizance is my spiritual journey and being able to help other people with the things that I say. I just feel like I have a ability to touch other people with the things that I say. People that look like me, I'm the people's champ. That's not me being an ego. That's me.
We Dwayne the Rock Johnson in right now.
I'm
the people's
champ.
Absolutely.
I care about the people, and I know what to say to the people, and I'm very active in the community to where I'm very open for other people.
That's another reason why I wanted to talk to you on the podcast and get to know you too, is because everyone that I have seen talking to you either on your social medias or like I've been like, I asked Tori, like, do you know her? And she's like, yeah, she's coming to Circle K all the time. She's fucking awesome. And it's like everyone that I know that's interacted with you or I've interacted with them in regards to you has not had anything negative to say.
That's really surprising.
No, for real. Like, I mean, I don't know. There might be some haters out there, but they should shut the fuck up because there's a lot more people that support you for you being somebody who's understands people and loves people.
I love people.
Unless you're a piece of shit, little Ku Klux Klanner, then fuck you.
I promise.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about your music. They Hate Elixir, which was another foundational stone of I'm interested in this person because you make really good fucking music. Do we have your permission to play a little bit of some stuff? Like maybe when in the intro, maybe we could play some of your music.
I'll give you guys a song to be able to play. Some shit you might get copywritten for. Cause I have to see what's on like actually available. Because if I distribute something, like if you guys want to play a song off Spotify, you might get copywritten on YouTube.
Well, we're gonna plug your Spotify anyway. So if you want to see her music, description below, you'll have a link to it.
Okay.
But what drew you to making music? Were you always someone into music, like growing up, or were you like, oh shit, this is cool, and you fell into it?
I'm gonna be honest. I started writing poetry while I was in these group homes, and as a form of like outlet. I can't be beating people up every day. I can't be fighting for my life every day. I need something to do.
Fight for my life.
Fighting for my life. So I started using poetry as an outlet, and then it went from poetry to like, hey, if I say this shit out loud, it kind of sounds like a rap. Let me put this shit on a beat.
Hell yeah.
And I put that shit on a beat. And then I became a rapper.
That's right. That's right. That's awesome.
So it was mostly like me writing songs about like emotional, I'm so sad, and sad fucking deep ass poetry.
I had goofy white idiot friends that wanted to rap, but that's how I found out that I love to write. Was that because like I ain't the type to be like, yo, what up? It's Lil Stanky on the mic. Like I can't be that dude.
Right.
I wish I could. I wish I could be the Post Malone of this generation. Post Malone is the Post Malone of this generation.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, I wish I could be, and I did like. We performed for a Halloween party, and that was cool. But it was like our friends that were like, "Oh yeah, like we weren't phenomenal music makers, nowhere near like you're really good." I cannot stress that enough.
Don't do that.
We weren't ever like that, but it was like I learned a lot of respect for like the process of like trying to be good at music. I'm not, but I love and I respect people that are.
Say that because I'm not good at music. What does that mean? That other people won't understand or like what you're doing? Because if you're actually doing it because you love to do it, it doesn't matter what.
That's true. I guess I should say most people would not be like, "Yo, crank that shit."
Crank that steak.
Yeah, crank that steak. Oh my God, Soldier Boy, you better look out. We're coming for the remix.
So yeah. So basically, I started doing music as a form of an outlet, and then I was like, "Hey, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
Let me go to a studio." And a lot of people,
not just you though, a lot of people.
Yeah. a lot of people were not taking me seriously because I was a female and I didn't have this type of style. Like when I walk in the room, you know who I am because I have a very distinct look to me. But like when I first started, people did not want to listen to me, and I was still good.
Yeah.
People did not want to listen to me because I was a female one, and also I was like raggedy. So
We raggedy. I like that. Yeah.
I
Okay.
was raggedy. I didn't have the look.
Yeah.
But through time, I just kind of was like, I don't need these people to co-sign me. I don't need you to like me. I don't need to.
Well, your skills speak for themselves.
I speak for myself.
And the people who judge you off of your skills are the people that you want to be around anyway.
Exactly. And then I got into networking with a whole bunch of other creative people all around the world. I'm not like, thousands of people listen to me. They don't. But I have networked with a lot of people and a lot of creative people. And the people that actually gave me a chance before I had it all together, and I still don't have it all together, the people that are rocking with me now, those are my Judies that I'm going to take to the top if I ever get there.
I can't wait to come to your future mansion party and meet Kanye West or something that's going to be lit. What does your process look like? And how would you describe your style? Because obviously you have a certain style or vibe to you, but it's not like you're Doja Cat or Nicki Minaj or anything. Like, how would you describe if I was like, yo, I need to listen to some, you got any dope rap, and you were like, I'm going to plug myself. How would you describe They Hate Elixir? Like, what is that music?
They Hate Elixir is eclectic. There's
Eclectic.
no genre. I have, I just like sound. I like, what do they call it, synesthesia? Like,
Yes.
where you could feel sound.
Yeah.
I have a feel for sound. And if I actually have something to talk about, the process of my writing is just like, there's something that happened to me today, let me write it down, because that's how it originated.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that happened at school today, let me write that down, and let me make a poem out of it so it doesn't sound all fucking emotional and
So you use poetry as a building block?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Cool.
I do.
That's awesome.
Poetry. And then I dumb it down a little bit, and I put a theme to it, and that's a song.
All right. Your musical presence online is slowly growing more and more, and many people in the local scene, myself included, think you are levels ahead of other local rappers. What does that mean to you, and is it something that you expected when you started?
Nope. Nothing I expected, and it wasn't the plan. Still not the plan.
So you're like us with our podcast. We just want to have fun, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't,
Exactly.
that's cool.
If you understand me and you want to rock with me, I'm rocking with you because I'm the people's person. But when I started music, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I want to be rich. And that's another thing that you probably didn't write down. I don't fuck with capitalism. I never want to be
Doesn't
rich.
like money.
It's not that I don't. It's not that I don't like money. It's I don't like being in a position of power with money and with resources. And there's still people that don't have that. So my goal isn't to be rich and famous and everybody's listening to me and I have all this money. Because if I had all that money, I'd be taking away from other people.
I hear you. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, it's similar to J. Cole's journey through his music. He started out very the money and the flashy shit, and then in his own words, he just kind of realized that that's not what it's fucking about, and he wants to make music for people.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, but I just like creating, and I like being able to touch people however I could touch people. Whether that's through my activism, whether that's through my music, whether that's through me sitting on this podcast, connecting with other cool people. I want to be able to infect other people with love.
Hell yeah.
And authenticity.
All right. And then you got to give me your musical inspirations, your favorite song right now, or top 3, because I know for me it's I couldn't pick a favorite song.
I know,
and
I can't.
if there's any, you want to give us a little taste of any future projects you got coming up, maybe you could talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, I listen to so much music.
Off the top of your head, favorite music artist right now?
Blank. It's really blank, honestly, because I just believe that I should be listening to so many. That's another thing that I have a belief of. Music is vibrations. You should listen to as many as you can.
Yeah.
Because vibrations are healing and whatnot. And I just listen to all types of genres except for country. You fucking suck.
I listen to country when I'm 3 mics hards deep, dude. I'm throw on Neon Moon, give me some Rascal Flats, baby. That's what I need. Hell yeah, dude. You can vibe to you yay! Fucking vibe to that shit.
No.
I cannot country. No.
No, you're alt rock, punk rock, gorillas,
I
shit
can
like that.
tell you some alt people that I do like.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Current Joys.
Okay.
Current Joys.
Never heard of them?
Okay, and this is a band from Long Island area,
Okay.
and nobody really listens to them out here. And
Shout it
they're
out.
kinda old. They're called Brand New. That's a band that I like.
Okay.
And then another band that I like is As Tall as Lions.
Okay.
And then rap, I'd say Isaiah Rashad. J. Cole.
Yes.
Um,
Kanye West.
not Kanye.
No Kanye because of the MAGA hat.
No, I like Kanye, but it's not just like put that Kanye on.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
I
Bump
like.
that new Kanye shit.
That sounds so corny. Okay, so like the other like alt rap, I listen to a lot of alt rap. So like the XXX era, the
Okay.
Playboy Cardi. I get so much inspiration and like I listen to so much music. I can go from like alt to like alt rap to like hardcore rap down south, Memphis, Tennessee, 3-6 Mafia. You know what I'm
I've been
saying?
listening to a weird influx of like UK drill rap. I think that's like
They're
the
good
wave.
too.
I think that's
They're
the
good
wave.
too. UK drill rap is good too,
Oh, yeah.
and or like drill, American drill's cool.
Yeah.
I listen to a
Slim
lot of
Jesus, drill time.
If you're gonna listen to anything like drill, it's gotta be like Chief Keef. It's gotta be like
Yeah.
Pop Smoke. It's gotta be like
Bitches love Sosa to this day.
bitches love Sosa to this day.
Okay, do you understand? Do you understand what I'm on? All right, so now it's the final, the last thing, the thing you're most excited for. I have come up with a game, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Nawjia is going to be the first to play it. It is called Lit or Shit.
Lit or shit.
I'm going to give her a series of 3 news stories that are phenomenal in their own way. And then her and Jillian too. You can play, Jillian, okay? Will tell me if it's lit, which means they believe it's true, or shit, which is as bullshit, okay? And we're going to start with the first one. I think it's pretty easy because, yeah, you'll see. So,
Hold on. How many questions are there?
3. There's 3. So, the first one. This is the first story. It's very short, all of them. A valuable avant-garde painting called Three Figures was defaced. It's worth about 1.4 million US. Was defaced by a quote bored security guard. He used a ballpoint pen to draw eyes onto the faceless figures. It was his first day. It didn't ruin the actual structure of the paint and could be easily repaired, but the only public info is that the guard was around 60 years old and was fired. He now faces a fine and up to 3 months in Russian prison.
Damn.
Wait, does lit mean I believe it?
Lit means yes. Lit means you believe it is a real story. Shit means that's bullshit. A very old security guard drew on a priceless painting and got fired and might go to jail for it.
That's lit. It's definitely lit.
You think it's lit?
That's crazy enough to be lit.
Lit.
It's lit. You guys are both right. Yes. So the painting was called Three Figures by Anna Laporskia. Fuck, I don't know if I'm ruining that. Its estimated worth is 1.4 million.
And you're just drawing on it because you're bored?
Yeah. That's the quote he gave was that he was bored, so he used a ballpoint pen and drew eyes
Jesus Christ.
onto this painting. And it wasn't even, the other funny thing about the story, wasn't even discovered by the museum itself. It was discovered by people who came to look at it. They're like, yo, what's that? Somebody draw this shit? All right, so the next story. Boop, 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 boop. So, an unnamed man became enraged at not receiving a promotion after dedicating decades of his life to a security company, another security company story. He exacted his revenge by assaulting multiple elementary school children before attempting to kill his boss with a sword. His boss was able to successfully defend himself and in the process almost killed the attacker. Jeffrey Bezos has reportedly paid for the attacker's life-saving surgeries, which include state-of-the-art plastic surgery and robotic implants. The man's own son and daughter are now leading the campaign to see him be held responsible for his crimes.
Real. And if it is
Is it shit?
Shit, because
Shit.
that's you would make that.
It is shit, and it is just it's Star Wars. I just talked about Anakin and Obi-Wan. I tried to make it realistic, but yes, you're both right. That is shit. Man, I thought that was gonna be trickier, dude.
I know Jeff Bezos ain't giving shit for paying for
Jet,
nothing.
yeah, that's it. That was the problem. I
what
should have
it
said like Mark Cuban or some shit. All right, and so the last story. The Texas Department of Safety accidentally set out an Amber Alert for Chucky from the Child's Play horror movie series. It was reported that the IT department used it as a test, but accidentally set it out for real. The Amber Alert said, Chucky was last seen wearing blue denim overalls with multicolored striped shirt, wielding a huge kitchen knife. They said it was an accident and that they were sorry. Is this true or is this lit or shit?
I want to say lit because I want that to happen.
I'm gonna go with shit.
It's lit. It happened. Yeah, it happened in January of 2021.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, Chucky.
Chucky, yeah, they said they just used it as a false test, and someone accidentally hit send for real, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
Hilarious.
But all right, and now we come to the end of our interview. It was so great having you on. We like to do a final plug. So any shout outs, social media, anything you want to you look right into that camera, just like on the end of Hot Ones, a very popular YouTube show. You just go ahead and whatever you want to say. Anything you want to say, anyone you want to shout out.
Shout out to my best friend, Albert. Shout out to all my friends on the internet, all my e-friends, all the little people on my phone that support me. Shout out to my TikTok. Go follow my TikTok. This is the Devil's Clitoris.
This is the Devil's Clitoris.
They'll put it up.
Yes, yeah, it's right there.
This is the Devil's Clitoris. If you want to, you can follow me on Facebook at Thick Pussy Hairs. I'm very active over there. People love me over there.
Thick
and I have
hairs.
a couple of food drives coming up when it gets nicer in Ashtabula. I'll be out here giving away food in the community.
Send us the info, and
I did that last year.
We'll post about it.
Yeah, and food drives, feeding people, internet activity. Pray for me, Pray for me.
All right. Well, it's so great having you on. Yeah, we'll come back to the next episode where Jillian boxes a kangaroo with one hand tied behind her back. Goodbye. Love you. Bye. See you later. Woo.